Okay. Hey, Mitch. Hopefully you can see this and hear me, see me, all that sort of stuff. I'm just going to make this video. As I talked about, this is something I want to do to keep you and your staff a little bit more in the loop on what's going on in my room and how it can help you and how we can work together to, get to whatever end goal. So here is basically block one. When I say block, it's just like the first 4 to 6 weeks of your training in the weight room. So, how I design my programs and how honestly most strength coaches devise their programs, especially in season, is we're going to start with something power related, so something explosive. That will be the first thing we do because we're fresh. Our central nervous system, our brain, and our spinal cord are fresh. We can produce the highest amounts of force right away in the session. Makes sense, right? So that's what we do first. We then work into a strength block. So something where more of like our meat and potatoes type of deal. And then we get into what I call accessories, which are still important things. But if we think about our program as appetizer, meat and potatoes, main course, dessert, accessories are a little bit more of the dessert. It's a little bit more of complementary type movements rather than the biggest, most important things for the day. So, like we talked about, a big emphasis for you was that first step, that lateral change of direction, lateral power, things along that line. So, the first exercise we're going to do is a drop off of a box into a lateral bound into a vertical jump. What that actually looks like in real time is me doing it here. So, obviously, I'm not as explosive as some of the kids, but you get the point of, hey, we're coming down from a rebound. Hey, this is our first initial step, whatever it might be. That first initial pop laterally, and then we have to make another counter movement up into the air. So we get 2 contacts of explosive movement in one rep, technically, of an exercise. So that will be our unweighted power exercise. And then we will go into a trap bar jump, which is literally just they're holding onto a trap bar and we do a vertical jump. The weights here are pulled from a percentage of their trap bar deadlift max. So I have every athlete that lifts in the offseason max out a trap bar deadlift. These numbers here are a percentage of their trap bar deadlift max from their offseason number. As we work down into the strength, these are like your super basic movements that just every athlete needs to be doing. We need to push, we need to pull, we need to rotate, hinge, all that sort of stuff. So we get an upper body press here with bench press, a lower body hinge, and a lower body pull movement with our dumbbell RDLs. And you'll see here, volume is pretty low. In season, I'm not trying to add a bunch of fatigue to them. We're basically just trying to maintain some of the strength that we have from the off season. And some of the younger ones maybe get a little bit stronger because they're so brand new, but I can't overload them with a ton of volume and try to get them stronger that way. It's just not the goal in season. So 864, that's our highest volume day. 753, 555, 3333. Keep the volume really low, make it intense and heavy. That way they're not getting fatigued from the volume, but we're still getting a good strength stimulus with that high percentage weight. Into our accessories, this is again where this stuff should complement what the sport is doing. This is where we kind of get a little bit sport specific, if you'd like to phrase it that way. Lateral lunges, again, that's what's going to develop the strength behind our change of direction in that lateral plane. So we have some lateral lunges in a goblet stance. That's going to reinforce body position. And when we play defense, right, like we should be sitting in that lunge / squat position ready to play. We shouldn't be completely folded over, anything like that. So lateral lunges to help reinforce just general body position playing defense, as well as that lateral push that's going to help with some of our change of direction type stuff. Barbell bent over row, I have an upper body press. I need an upper body pull, just push and pull. So that's simply why that's in there. And then an iron ankle straight leg hold is an ankle specific exercise to develop some ankle strength throughout the course of the season. Obviously, that's going to be super important. This is an introductory exercise, which we will build upon throughout the season. So, obviously, with the first few weeks, we're going to start with the basics, get the basics down really well, and then evolve from there. So, that's our first day of the week. Most likely your Monday night session, if that's what we end up rolling with. Our later week exercise, again, depth jumps to box jumps. These are a really great exercise for that first step explosiveness. If you're not familiar with what this looks like, it's simply dropping off of a box. We'll drop off of the benches in the weight room just for simplicity's sake. So they'll drop off the bench, and they're pretty simple. They are coached to get off the ground as fast as humanly possible, and that plays into one of the metrics that I gather and track throughout the season, which we can talk about at a later date. But that plays into RSI, which is a big metric that I use to assess performance in general. 3D lateral bound. This is, again, another lateral plyometric that's going to help with some of that first step explosiveness. They'll get into this band here, twist around so it encapsulates the whole body, and it's literally just a lateral bound. Working off of the band resistance in that first step, get on the inside part of your foot, push hard. So those are our power exercises for that second day. Again, getting a straightforward, a linear plyo, and a lateral multi-directional plyo there. Our meat and potatoes type things for the day is a trap bar deadlift. Super important lift for every athlete. Just another general lower body strength exercise, and pull-ups. Nothing, cute, nothing sexy here. Like, it's just the meat and potato stuff that every athlete needs to do to get strong, stay strong. Block B here, aka accessory, synonymous there. Eccentric calf raises are just calf raises with tempo. So 3 seconds on the way down, a 2-second pause at the bottom, 1 second on the way up. That tempo, that long time under tension, is just going to help develop some ankle strength and some general stiffness down there, so we're not so basically weak throughout the ankle joint. This is where we will get some volume. 6 reps, 8 reps, 10 reps, 10 reps, increasing the weight and the tempo as we go on. And again, that's just simply to overload the ankle as time goes on. This is a pretty introductory one. We'll just keep building on it as the season goes through. RDLs, one leg. So this is a really, really great exercise for general ankle stability, hamstring strength, overall body coordination, all that sort of stuff. Again, we have a lower body push here in the trap bar deadlift. Now we're looking for a lower body pull, which is where the RDLs come from, as well as those other benefits that I talked about. The last thing on here is an incline bench press. Again, we have an upper body pull here in the pull-ups. We need an upper body push, and that will be at the bottom here. So we get a little bit of sport-specific stuff with the RDLs, the calf raise, and then some of our plyos. But again, need some meat and potatoes, just general type stuff with the pull-ups, the trap bar deadlift, and our incline dumbbell bench press. And again, just so you're on the same page, week 1 will be the highest volume. This will start before they're playing games, so we need to build up that tolerance before we get into games, obviously. So higher volume at the start, and we just slowly kick down volume, that reps and sets, but we increase the weight to overload the system in some way. So that's kind of the general layout of the program. I can dive into more specifics with you if that's something you're interested in, but yeah, hopefully this helps. Shoot me a text with any questions you have, and I'd love to chop it up back and forth there. Thank you.